Hi, everybody. Welcome back from lunch. Hope everyone had a good one and got some ice cream. I'm Melody Lay. I manage a pen test team for the Government of Ontario. That's out in Toronto, Canada. I'm here to introduce the next speakers to you. We've got Kirk and Andy, who are all the way from New Zealand, who I'm told have the world's best rugby players. I'm Canadian, so I don't know a lot about rugby, actually. I've also been told that Kiwis have an excellent sense of humor. So I hope you enjoy this next presentation. Basically, the greatest guys I've ever met. Take it away, Kirk and Andy.
Chickies of New Zealand. Too long have we been locked away in the back rooms and dungeons of the greedy New Zealand corporations. Your learning and creativity has been stifled by measly budgets and by inferior managerial minds. We are slaves to the technical debt incurred by the generations before us. Time and time again have we shouted, "Teach me! Train me!" Did they listen? No! Did they give us the shiny toys? No! They sit in their managerial ivory towers, Facebooking, Snapchatting, actually modernizing, whilst we are sucked deeper and deeper into their debt. It is time for us to join forces and stand up against the tyranny of management and the undying stupidity of end users. It is time for us to leave the office. It is time for us to play by our rules. It is time for us to free our techie minds. We are F Society. You are F Society. Together we will play and finally be free.
Woo! Thank you very much. Big clap for the Kiwis. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so
leading your own applause.
yeah, thank you very well. Somebody had to. So hi, I'm Andy. I work for this little crowd called Red Shield.
And I'm Kirk. And actually, when we prepared this talk, I didn't work for Andy, and then he hired me, and so now I have to be nice to him.
Exactly. Bloody perfect. So we're going to do some hacking like Mr. Robot. We now have 35 minutes left. So for those who haven't seen the program, going to do a quick intro, and then so I for today have the Elliot alter ego.
So this Mr. Robot's story is really about Elliot's life. He's a troubled security consultant by day, pen tester, and by night he's a bit of a hacker and activist. So Andy is Elliot, minus the morphine.
Right.
And Elliot's alter ego, his kind of comrade in arms, is this mythical Mr. Robot. And in order to expense this jacket, I need to wear it during the talk. So Mr. Robot is the guy that eggs him on and gets him to do more and more daring stunts. And the story kind of focuses on this hacker collective called F Society. And they hang out in the old Fun Society arcade on Coney Island. And they plot to take down the evil corporations of the world. And they call it Evil Corp that they're taking down. So who's actually seen the show? Okay.
Excellent.
Good room
Brilliant.
for the show.
Brilliant.
So here's a group of the hacker collective. I guess you'd call them F Society. So there's some other characters. We're going to try really hard not to do spoilers during the talk, but we're going to go into some of the hacks inside this TV program.
So little spoilers, tiny ones.
Just more about how they work rather than how they pertain to the story, or at the beginning of season 2, the lack of story in the TV show. Why is this interesting? Well, Mr. Robot gets stuff right. So unlike some of the other TV shows that were shown in the keynote yesterday morning, the hacking in Mr. Robot, and man, it's hot being Mr. Robot in Australia.
It's like, I'm done. Like being a bloody hacker in this heat is terrible.
No wonder there's so many defence people in Australia, because
It's too hot wearing the gear, exactly.
You know, like Mr. Robot came out, and apart from the first episode where they hadn't quite hired consultants, and there's some little weird things, you know, they pretty much get the hacking right, use real tools like the rubber ducky we saw yesterday, although a point about the rubber ducky, they didn't actually succeed. It's not about the rubber ducky, it was about the USB drop. They did that in the show, like they talked about in the keynote, but they didn't actually succeed because, was it anti-malware or something, blocked it when he plugged it in his computer?
Yeah, bugger.
So we're going to talk about some of the things, but we're going to...
We have a target. It's like any good session, we like to do real demos, hence why we have shiny boxes that we carry around through our carry-on luggage on planes. So we have Red Mountain. So for anyone who happens to be down Bulcott Street in Wellington, our secret global HQ is up on level 12. So we thought, okay, using only the techniques from Mr. Robot, then we want to get from the street to the locked floor, through the secure doors, bypassing alarms and cameras into a locked server cage, onto a system with an insane admin password and two-factor auth in what's now 32 minutes.
And it's important to note that these demonstrations in no way should make you worried about the security of our company.
No, well, true. So we have, of course, fixed all of these things. Well, actually, if you get past with all these bits, then, yeah, anyway, move on from that.
So our first target is access to the floor.
So how do we do that, Kirk? Because isn't the floor secured?
Yeah, so in Mr. Robot episode 4 of the first season, they demonstrated card cloning. So Mr. Robot, wearing his now expense claim jacket, bumps up to an Evil Corp employee and with his bag and touches the guy's card. Then he goes back to the desk in the cafe and clones a new card with the same values. So facility code 130, card number 20248. And then they use that to drive into the Iron Mountain headquarters.
Yep.
I don't think I gave away any spot points.
Nah.
So we want to do the same thing in Red Mountain. So our floor is permanently locked. It's a real pain when couriers want to deliver stuff. But in order to get to it, you need to use a swipe card. Our building security system looks somewhat like this, and you may have one similar in your building.
So right now, you can walk into the Red Shield office without a swipe card because here's our security system. Oops.
If it gets confiscated
It's
at
a
the border, we're in
hole
trouble.
on the wall with wires. And it's like,
Got to get back before Monday.
Yeah.
So you've probably seen these before. It's basically like a computer from the 80s with a couple of card readers, a pin panel to turn off and unlock the cards, and then some mag strike things so that when someone presses the button inside the building, the other one unlocks.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and then you can get in through the doors, or if you swipe a card, you get that nice beep noise and the doors unlock.
You see, high tech over in New Zealand. Only the
Pretty
best.
high tech. So we have 3 types of people. We have managers.
Thank you very much.
We have lowly staff members, and we have someone else that's just got a random card. If they walked up to the building, they get a very long beep, signifying that they are evil. So how the cards work, I mean, these ones are really basic. It's 26 bits of data, which is the facility code and the card number. And very handily, the manufacturers of the cards print the card number on the card. So if you work in the same building as the manager and you happen to glance at his card, you can copy your card for the facility code and just type in his card number, and you've got a manager's card.
Perfect.
So let's demo that. For this demo, Andy is going to arrange a stooge.
Okay, so I'm going to randomly select a stooge from the audience. We randomly selected Peter before. So welcome Peter to the stage.
So I kind of got told off for using the
They're
word
upstairs.
butt too much last time we did this, but we've chosen Peter for the quality of his butt.
Exactly.
Just need to
Well, no,
unplug
let
that.
the audience see. Let the audience see. So, so this butt, thank you very much, is gonna. Have you got your swipe card on your butt?
No.
Pocket?
No, I don't have a swipe card.
Do we not get a swipe card?
No, we're going to give him one.
Okay, good, excellent. No, I am so glad that you do not have one in your pocket.
So Peter's a manager, and like all managers, basically all he does is drink coffee at the coffee shop. And you
on.
can be a barista. I think this is a very good job for my manager to do.
Okay.
And you can place this card on your person somewhere. Basically what we've got here is
machine.
a USB device called a AusCERT2017, which is just a little computer that has a high frequency and a low frequency antenna. Low frequency, can't do it without a bit of paper. And so basically what this does is every time a card gets put next to the aerial, it's just going to print out the card number. You see the card number is 1298 for the staff card, facility code 254. And what's going to happen is while Peter is having his coffee,
While I'm making your coffee with my
Flat white, thanks.
machine, flat white, sweet, I can do that.
I am going to
How's your pocket, sir?
awkwardly figure out which of his pockets did he put it in.
So this is where the perhaps the guy last night was a little more subtle. What I like to say is that in our local cafe in Wellington, this is actually quite normal. This is how we roll. Good morning.
That worked perfectly. Thank you very much, Stooge.
Great coffee, very good.
That's right. And that's your flat white.
So now we know that the manager's card is card 1296. So this Proxmark is actually a clone, so its aerial is not quite as good. So I would have been able to do it a little bit further away and perhaps a little bit more appropriately for an audience.
That worked.
Oops.
Look, he's smiling so much.
It was less
Alrighty.
sexy in my head, that's all I can say about that. So now we just want to copy that onto this blank card. So you remember the blank card doesn't get into the building. All we need to do is basically clone the tag ID of a previous card or generate one ourselves and write it to this card. And now we can get in the building and up to the floor.
Woo!
So no long beeps. So you might be thinking, that's really dumb and wasn't that too easy and wasn't that guy's butt just the greatest thing you'd ever seen? It
was actually his chest.
And it's actually kind of, it's just how these
Nipple.
cards work. So heaps of buildings were built a long time ago. Like this building is probably like more than a year old. And security changes every year.
Shit, yeah.
And there's different types of cards that have different properties. So our one was a low frequency memory card, which basically just had those 26 bits of memory that you can read and write from. No encryption, no keys, nothing. Other cards you might have used might be high frequency, might actually have some semblance of encryption, but these ones don't. Inside there's basically just a chip and an antenna. This Proxmark tool costs about $500, but it can read any card and it can also pretend to be a card. So you can go to an office building and just stand there with the card reader. I would demo this, but I think I'm talking too long. And just cycle through every possible card number for a given facility code. And about 4 minutes later, the door will double beep and open.
Unless, of course, if somebody is sitting there in your sock watching for door access violations, that could happen.
There's a friend of mine that was doing a red team pen test that did this and got in this way. And then the next morning it didn't work. And it's because like someone actually did notice all the accesses. And they're like, what the hell? No one ever notices. But you know, if you don't have $500 and you can speak Chinese, you can buy one of these devices where you hold the Chinese symbol for read, press that button, and then you take it to a blank card and press the one that says write. So it's really cheap to pull off yourself. So what to do about it? Like any good defense talk, we need to give you a solution.
Of course. Simple. So as we've done, rewire the building. Actually, the most secure thing we've done so far is actually rip the unit off the wall. Perfect. So no one can actually brute force into our system at the moment. Spot on.
Except customs and airport officials while our bags checked in. So you know there is cards that do have more security, but a lot of buildings don't actually use them yet.
Okay, so this is step one. So we've now demonstrated it's quite easy on the street, in the cafe, very subtly, we can get in. So the next thing, doors and alarms. So before we get high tech, we're still in low tech land. So here we are in this lovely picture you can see here. We're looking at the door. Can we get in through that door? What is just the other side of that door? Because we've got through with our cloned swipe card.
So this is actually the view from the inside. There's the lifts. There's one set of glass doors and another. Both of them require security cards.
Yes, they do.
But
we're in, and so that we can subtly break in, we want to do it after hours. And so this is step one. This actually worked. So of course, the classic, just inside the door is a little green exit button. And yes, a bit of number 8 wire or the coat hanger actually fits through the glass gap, turns sideways and presses the exit button on the inside. So high-tech attack number 1 was successful with a little piece of wire.
But we do have a compensating control, which is a really loud beeping noise followed by an even louder siren.
Absolutely. So here's the thing. Okay, so now how do we, so we've got about 2 minutes here to bypass an alarm system. This sucks. Okay, so alarm bypassing system technique number 1, still old school at the moment. There happens to be one of these interesting air conditioning diffuser panels just above where the pin pad sits. Very convenient, I hear you say. I did, I heard, one of them said it. So, okay, so 7 days earlier, so you can choose something as high-tech, so we're still staying in low-tech land. Bought this off Trade Me for $1. So we take one of these little babies, we look at the alarm panel, and, okay, I'll go back to that one because I thought we had a, So, and so what this does is basically harvests logins for a week. So from outside, so you would have seen where we had the, you came out of the lifts, foyer, glass doors, awesome. From this point, the alarms haven't yet gone off and there are roof panels. And above the pin pad, there's an air vent. How beautiful. So with a little ladder, lift up, put the camera looking at the keypad, leave it there for a week. Every morning, some admin comes in and disables the alarm. So it's a very simple alarm code harvesting technique. So here we are, 7 days later, with anyone who's logged in to disable the alarms or set the alarms at the end of the day.
And the really good thing is that Daniel's an early riser and he's the server admin, so his pin actually gets you into the server room.
Absolutely perfect. So we've gone a bit old school so far. So old school, well, we've used a bit of new tech, Proxmark, clone the cards, in we go, bit of wire, gets us in the door. We've already pre-harvested a week's worth of logins on the panel. So here's the next bit. We now have a locked server room. So a couple of techniques. So for a free prize of a
we don't have any
slightly
prizes.
melted ice cream.
Okay, we don't have any prizes.
Possibly more melted by the second. So who think, no, without showing the video, don't show the video.
Okay.
Okay, so who thinks, give us an idea for how you might get into a locked server caged server room for a prize. Come on. Here we go. All pick the lock. Well, there is a very large stand out there of how to pick the lock. Very good. Are you going to say play some Lego? Pull the inside door handle. Ooh, that's not a bad idea, actually. I like that. With another piece of wire. He's taking step 2.
What Andy actually did here is he got his employees who wanted to participate in this exercise to sign disclaimers that
occupational safety and health.
Red Shield would not be liable for any medical or otherwise accidental death.
Correct.
Blah, blah, blah.
And what we did is at the weekend, as we said, now you'll see the most critical part in how we got the staff to buy into this red teaming engagement of our own office.
Oh.
Next to the server cabinet, just under the mouse, can you see what that is? It's beer. Spot on. So you've got a lovely chilled air-conditioned server room with a lot of beer. And so basically the red teaming engagement was you have the weekend to get into the server room. This was what we felt was the most gorgeous approach. It's kind of a Keystone
So up in
Cops.
the top left there.
Whoa! But where did he go? So this is Red Shield HQ. You
Hey,
can see his mate going, bro, where'd you
where'd
go?
you go?
Oh, bro. True. And look at that. The Phantom Beer Swigger.
So what he actually did was climb up. Oops.
Well, no.
Stop.
We don't get
Actually
pundits.
climb up through the ceiling panel and back down into the server room. And of course got the beer. So now we're into the server cage, but being a cloud security kind of company, our servers don't just have password as their password, they have an insane admin password and a really complicated two-factor auth system which sends
Yes,
a text
indeed.
message with a number on it.
So I guess so far we've demonstrated that physical security ain't quite what it should be, perhaps. So here we are now, and so now we're relying on digital security that says, look, really long passwords, check, change them every 90 days, write them on pieces of paper, all the right things we should be doing. So
How did
we
they
Mr.
get
Robot?
passwords in Mr. Robot? Well, they actually used a rubber ducky, which you can buy from the stand over there, or its newer brother. And Angela, who was she's not the technical person in the TV show, but she always seems to have to do the dangerous things. She works in this building in Evil Corp, and she has to sneak into the guy's office. So what she does is she convinces the PA that there's a parcel for her downstairs that she has to go and get. While the PA's away from her desk, Angela sneaks into the office. She finds the computer, plugs in a rubber ducky. Mimikatz runs on the desktop, copies the, what's that hash thingy? NTLM hash is off.
Yep.
And she takes it back to her desktop and gets Joseph Green password, which is Holiday Armadillo. Sorry for the spoiler if you didn't know it was Holiday Armadillo. And then she goes back to her desktop and is able to connect and read documents which have some bearing on the story, and you shouldn't focus too much on the highlighted thing there. So we've got a friend who Andy also hired after we prepared this talk. He's basically just hiring people that do interesting stuff.
So if anyone wants a job.
Who made us something that we think is a little bit more fun than the rubber ducky. But for this demonstration, we need a stooge.
So who here liked Pete's butt?
Apart from Pete.
Ah, okay, fair enough. You didn't have to like his butt, but that's all good. Could we have your butt back here on the stage, please? Yes, please. Oh, come on, a bigger clap for Pete's butt. Come on. Thank you. That's more like it. That's more like it. Crikey. Okay, so our stooge here, you are now evil boss man of Evil Corp right now.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're sitting at your desk writing your memoirs. Is that today's date? Yes, it's today's date. Go ahead and write.
Right away.
So you'll notice that he's using an old Microsoft Surface with a really crappy keyboard, because my daughter borrowed the good keyboard, with a Logitech mouse plugged in that looks remarkably like this mouse.
So tell us, Peter, does that mouse look like a normal Logitech mouse to you? Yeah, good.
That's his
Excellent.
normal mouse. So he's going to get a phone call from someone asking him to leave.
Oh, Peter, this is your barista calling. We happened to see an incident this morning that we'd like you to come back in to explain. Okay, cool.
So he locks his computer, which is Windows L, I think, and leaves his desk.
And he walks away.
Don't go too far, though, because he's going to come back.
So
while he's away, Angela sneaks in, unplugs the Logitech mouse, and replaces it with a Logitech mouse. Doesn't plug it in, just leaves it like sitting a little bit precariously, so that when Pete comes back, he goes, "That's weird, my mouse fell out while I was away from my desk."
So
he comes
we
back
could
to
leave
his
it
office.
logged in, but it kind of, plays for the...
Yeah, comes back to his office and logs in. This is how you use Windows. You swipe up, and then you type your password, which is really secure. Hopefully no one in the audience can see it. And then just wiggle your mouse and go, "Hey, that's weird, my mouse doesn't work."
Hey, my mouse doesn't work.
Hey, cool. There you go.
So plug it back in, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully the right thing happens.
Okay, so Pete's plugged it in.
Don't touch stuff right now.
Ooh,
So we've slowed this down a bit for demonstration purposes.
hands in the air, hands in the air.
But
That's right.
above the table.
So that was weird. It was like things popped up.
You see that things popped up
How did that happen?
while he was sitting there. And our code is running. I've put some delays in just to make it more obvious. Do I need to stop talking?
No, I was thinking.
Oh, he needs to stop.
Yeah.
And at the end of all of this, he needs to log into the computer for Windows security. So just go ahead and type
Are you
password
actually
in
an
there.
admin on any systems?
I reckon you should use your real password
Yeah,
here
do.
because it'll
Go
make
on.
the demo more realistic.
Yeah, actual password.
Cool. Thanks. Wow, that was a short password.
Okay.
So thanks, Pete. You can sit back down and we'll explain what happened.
Oh, thank you.
So this still works like a real mouse, but what just happened? Why is there now a website on the internet called fsociety.host that can't be displayed due to Wi-Fi access issues? Hey, Marriott, which now has the password visible that Pete just plugged in. What actually just happened?
What actually just happened? Okay. Shall we? Are you going to connect to that on that one? Okay, excellent. So what did just happen, Kirk, whilst you're now, because this one failed to connect?
So what actually happened was our friend Valentinus, where's the how did it work slide? Our friend Valentinus likes hardware stuff, and he took a regular USB mouse, and it turns out there's a lot of empty space inside a mouse, and put a USB hub inside, And then connected to the hub is the regular mouse USB controller, as well as a Teensy.
So here are the two.
Yeah, so the only difference is the X, so I remember which one's which. Put a Teensy, which is a microcontroller that you can basically just tell it to do whatever you want. So it's emulating a keyboard and then typing in a bunch of PowerShell commands, download some payload off the internet, run it on the computer, upload the password that the user types in to our server.
So are you going to fire up? Well, we need to see the password.
Oh, we need to see the password.
Society.host. So I guess if you look at the space inside of here so far, variants of rubber mousey. So again, it is a mouse, but also you can control the mouse. You
Was
can
your
move
password
it.
1234? Wow.
Oh!
Whereabouts do you work?
Okay. So actually, is real password. So again, so we can codify what the mouse does. So it could, for instance, wait for movements, and when you stop moving, it can then send movements down the wire. It can send clicks, so that's all good. As Kirk said, it can then also be a keyboard. So that's how the little PowerShell popped up. It types away from the keyboard tucked inside the mouse anything you want it to type. Beautiful. It can also have a hard drive built in. It can also have a little Wi-Fi unit built in. So either it connects through the computer's Wi-Fi network, or it can Wi-Fi itself. So from the insides of a little mouse, it's a beautiful little handy device. So if anyone, we do actually have Red Shield mice available at the end of the show, if anyone's interested.
Yeah, just plug them in. Yeah. It'll be fine.
It's all good.
So now we've got our way into the building. We've got our way into the server room. We've socially engineered or kind of tricked the manager into plugging a USB device into his computer and scraped his password or installed keylogging software or whatever else you can do with PowerShell, which is basically anything. But the one thing we haven't managed to do yet is get the two-factor auth code that's sent by SMS. So when you go to the server and log in, sends you a text message and you have to type that number back into the computer.
Well, what they've actually got at Red Mountain here is normally they've got some other hard token that they use. Maybe it's a Google Auth, but their system also happens to have an SMS failover capability. So this is perhaps our attack vector.
So did we see something like this in Mr. Robot? Well, not really. I don't remember them attacking two-factor auth codes. But at one point in the second season, when things are getting dull, there is something used called a femtocell. So again, it's Angela. She has to do this hack on the FBI agents that are in her building. And a femtocell is basically a mobile cheap. How much is it for a femtocell?
This one was actually around about $6,000, so it wasn't that cheap.
Our
But you
one,
can get them cheaper.
Okay, so I don't know how much the Mr. Robot one costs, but our one's $6,000. Pretends to be a cell phone tower. And you connect it to whatever backhaul you've got. So ours is connected to a VoIP system.
Yep.
But in the TV show, she has to plug that in under the desk. And the idea is the FBI agents' phones will connect to that. And then when they do Android updates, the hackers root their phones. So here's a picture of them creating exploits. Looks
so we
realistic.
decided we would use a similar technique.
Plugging
so
it
again,
in.
The way the femtocell, as Craig describes as Kirk. What's Bob?
Whatever.
Thingy. So again, before he plays, so what we're going to see is the femtocell itself is a microcell site. It is now the thing your phone is chatting to. Beautiful. As we've got behind the cell site is our own VoIP network that we control. So the great thing that we can actually do, so this is going to be a video. In New Zealand, we've got some frequencies we can use. Now, of course, for lawful or unlawful interception of data privacy, we can't actually demo this one up here. Worst case scenario is you would connect to our network and we would access your phone calls or SMSs, and apparently that's a little naughty over here. So this one is recorded in America, where it's equally as naughty, but we're further away now, so that's okay. And the thing is, it works as a perfect cell network. The only thing we can't do is bill you. So we don't actually have a billing mechanism. So
here we go.
You are got to be kidding me. The system's done what? What?
slightly sped up. Aha.
Femtocell. He's using the Wi-Fi, the wireless connection in the hotel, so he doesn't have to use a wireless connection.
So beautifully taken straight out of the back of the TV, plugged in
He's going to be really pissed when he finds out we did that to
Yeah, I
him.
know. Heinrich, it's great. So that was how long it takes to install a femtocell. And as long as it's internet connected.
Seriously, they're all dead. They're all down. Okay, no, I need to get in. Hello?
Ah, yes. So true.
Dan,
We do have a lot of
phone
Oscars.
strums.
Here we do.
What's going on? I still seem to have good reception.
Aha. fsociety.troopers is our
Let me
provider
log
right
into my
now.
secure eCorp phone. No, I don't have time to play. I've got to do some work. Alrighty. Okay. eCorp 24/7 hotline.
Just like to point out, at this point, I'm asleep.
Okay. I need
In
you
New
as that
Zealand.
Jack Kirkson.
No longer
This
asleep.
is an evil boss man. Look, systems are down. I need to get in, but got my username and password, but I'm away on the other side of the planet in a dodgy hotel room. I need a new 2-factor code. Can you send me a auth token like now, please? Just text it to my phone. 1st of April, 1900. Mummykins. Oh, bloody perfect.
Identity verification.
There it is. Okay, perfect. eCorp access token 133743. Okay, good. Here we go.
This happens a lot.
My wife is at the front.
Scheiß, Tipp von E-Mail-Kopf. Ich hoffe, wir haben ihn bald.
So. Das erste Telefon.
So
ist
they're
die Spur,
taking the
die zweite.
packets captured in
Schauen wir mal,
Wireshark
was wir haben.
and extracting an audio file.
Wir müssen unbedingt in dieses System.
They get one for the left channel, or one for the voice in each direction. So then they're loading them into Audacity
Okay, die Einrichtung haben wir.
and joining the two voice streams together.
So,
Turning the volume
schauen,
up.
was wir haben.
Hello, eCorp Global Squad. Okay, I need to set Jack system. Who am I speaking to? Oh, this is evil boss man. Look,
Wir haben
systems are down.
Wir haben
I
ihn
need to get in, but
Perfekt.
got my username and password, but I'm away on the other side of the planet in a dodgy hotel room. I need a new 2-factor code. Can you send me a
Speed
auth
this
token?
up.
Like
Yeah.
now, please just text it to my phone.
Okay, Eagle Boss Man, I would love to do that for you. First, I just need to verify your identity. What is your date of birth?
Oh, 1st of April, 1900.
Das Geburtsdatum.
Great, that checks out. And your mother's maiden name?
Mummykins.
Und der Geburtsname seiner Mutter.
Great. Okay, Eagle Boss Man, I've verified your identity, and I will now SMS your 2-factor auth code to you.
Oh, bloody perfect. I will give you a gift in the post as soon as I get back. You're welcome. Okay, thank you.
Great, thanks for calling Eagle Global Support. Have a good day.
Perfekt, jetzt die SMS. Wir haben ihn.
Okay, wir können los.
Cool. So I promise you that none of that was faked. The chipmunk sounds was just us speeding up what happened in the video.
Indeedy. And so basically, so if one of these femtocells was sitting here connected through to our VoIP network at the back end, all you would need is to have global roaming enabled. Cool, that's all. Because then your phone will auto-join the strongest site, which could be ours, that's fine. And like I say, this was me calling Jack Kirkson legitimately from
Podunk, America. I believe
Podunk,
it was
America,
called.
it was, in Ohio, of course. And so the call is perfectly valid, the texts are perfectly valid. Again, the only thing is that we're not linked to a billing network. So,
Yes, so and we can intercept all the calls and texts and any unencrypted data on the call. So that's got us up the stairs, into the room, into the server. We've got the 2-factor auth code interception, and now we've basically got the crown jewels, which unfortunately in Redshield's case, since we actually store everything in the cloud, just some dodgy old server in a server room.
Exactly.
But you kind of get the idea.
okay, so, so I guess, so that is us, street to hardened server. Come on, that's got to in half an hour.
So
what
what
did
did
we
we
learn?
actually learn? Well, the first thing that I need to point out here is that some of these techniques may not be legal. And just for your own benefit, maybe you shouldn't do these things, or else you should do them in a controlled environment with the consent of all parties involved.
Absolutely.
What else did we learn? Well, Mr. Robot has some real hacks in it, so that's cool.
Yes.
We learned that I could watch the same series twice, the second time freeze framing to figure out what they were doing the whole way along.
Yep.
What else did we learn?
Well, and so I guess, so you may ask, because CEO of Red Shield, I have to take at least 2 seconds. So if you haven't heard of us, we don't actually hack and break into systems. We shield vulnerable systems. So if anyone wants to find out about Red Shield, it is redshield.co. It's like a .nz, but without the .nz. What?
Okay, and you know, we're really interested in interesting research that pushes the boundaries, and it's really cool to see, I guess, some of our work represented on TV. You know, not our work, but you know, our industries, our industry's work on TV realistically. I guess it must be what it feels like when a doctor watches Grey's Anatomy and they're like, yeah, that's totally how you massage a heart back to life. So yeah,
Cool.
hopefully this was entertaining.
So we have a 2-minute window. We have time for 2 questions.
Are we going to answer questions? Okay.
I don't know. Go on.
Okay,
Might
ask
as well.
Andy what the prize is.
I'm going to run the mic to anyone who has a question.
Free beer. Silent. Oh, yes. It is a question, I guess. Classic Aussie audience, ask me a question for a beer. Can I have a beer? Sure. Oh, there we go.
That multi-factor authentication is obviously rolling with the timer.
Yep.
How do you ensure that the time you take to break and gather the code,
Well,
you're doing it in a timely enough manner?
Some don't. So I guess, so what you can do, so there's a lot of these systems that actually get, like if you use, say, Google Auth as an example, you can actually get 10 codes that last forever. And so you'll get those, print them out, keep them handy in your pocket. So not always. So sure, if it's a rolling code, that's fine. I guess in this scenario, what you'd be wanting to do is, as the attacker, you've already got the account, you've already got the password, you're waiting to get in, you intercept the text and get in there first. So then you log into the system, Evil Corp logs in, 2-factor auth code didn't work. Okay, maybe I was too slow. Can I have another one? So this would just be a timing issue where you're now ready to fire on that attack, or timing's not an issue.
But yeah, because we're intercepting at real time, as long as we're ready when they're getting sent a text.
And if you also think, because of the intercept, we could have modified it. So we could have actually kept the real one and sent a dodgy one out the other end. So from that perspective, or we could have delayed the message and the text never got through to you. So.
I have a question.
Any more? Yes? No? Well, tough.
Oh, that's a real question.
Question regarding the intercept of the SMS via the femtocell.
Yep.
Normally a femtocell allows you to fake someone into registering onto your cell as a local SIP device, but how did you fake the person's ID to get the return SMS message? So how did you divert the SMS message?
Oh, the inbound message.
Oh, so the inbound message. So this is when they had sent the message and it would land back on the phone?
Yeah, so when support had sent it.
That worked perfectly well. So I guess I'd have to check with our Henrik and Brian femtocell team. So good question. So wasn't aware that there might have been an issue in doing that. Every time we've done this, works perfectly. So there's some jiggery that the guys do that works well. So it's literally a join and end and outbound both work. So good question though. So you can get a beer for having one that I don't know off the top of my head.
So my question was, is anyone travelling to Wellington and want to mule an alarm system so that I get less questions on the way back?
Really heavy. Goes through the system. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Well, look, that's us. We're time up.
I think that's all the time we have, but I have a little gift from AusCERT for each of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that very fun and informative presentation.
Thank you.